Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Real Podcasters. This is a weekly podcast where we discuss all things movies, TV shows, video games and a bunch of other things in no particular order. My name's Regan as ever and I'm joined once again by my irradiated armadillo of a co-host. It's Dan.
Why am I automatically Anguirus?
I don't know why, it's either that or the moth, but we're not talking about the moth.
Well, I mean, I do have multiple lamps, so I'm kind of feeling more of a moth, to be honest.
So while we're recording, I'm expecting you to suddenly flutter off to the corner of the bedroom to stare, just like staring at a lamp. Just like, Dan, can we get back into focus? No.
Yeah, I'm definitely Mothra. You're the friggin', what's he called?
Don't say Jet Jaguar, because I'll kill you.
Is it Gigan?
I'll take that one. I'll take a bit of Gigan.
The dude who looks like a mechanoid beetle.
Is that Gigan? Yes, it is. Oh no, the one I'm thinking of is the one with the weird long talons. What's his face? No, hang on a second. The Beetle's Megalon, I think. This is really bad if we're trying to figure out which kaiju is which.
We haven't gotten into the topic yet.
In fairness, we're talking about the most popular one outside of the lizards, so there's that. We'll get to that in a second, but thank you very much for tuning in. We've seen some really positive success with the last few episodes. In particular, the Dead Space one is currently our third most watched episode, so thank you very much. That being said, the space between The Last Crusade and Godzilla -1, you could actually fit Godzilla in that space. So there's that. You've got 344, 125. Still to this day, I don't know.
So now we just need one that's 200 odd views.
I mean, hopefully we can do that. Maybe talking about some giant three-headed dragon with some like delusions of grandeur. Maybe that'll do it.
I mean, considering how popular our radioactive gecko commentary was on Godzilla -1.
And we had a lot of commentary. Yes, we did.
We did.
Maybe that'll come up again this week. Who knows? But no, as mentioned last week, after we spoke about Dead Space, we decided we'd return to the Godzilla franchise, but not specifically looking at one film, because, as I said before, it's quite difficult to agree to review every single Godzilla movie, because I will just get tired. Very, very, very tired. Very tired and angry and probably quite bored. It's just one of those things. So instead, I thought, let's focus on one particular kaiju. And, we've already spoken about Godzilla a couple of times. That'll happen across the rest of the year. But let's talk about arguably the most popular one outside of Godzilla, I'd probably say. So, I mean, it's between the four. You've got Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan. But we're going to talk about King Ghidorah, because that one's got a bit more of an interesting one for me personally.
My first look at King Ghidorah wasn't through the older Godzilla films. It was actually 2019's King of the Monsters was my first appearance of it, and you are just smiling.
There's a reason I'm smiling.
Yeah, this was my first one, and
we don't need to talk about the film.
To be honest, every other one after.
We could just talk about the...
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to talk about the film anyway, because it's pants, really.
A bit pants.
It's a bit pants. I think it's the best-looking Ghidorah version, even if it is like a 70-foot CGI monstrosity. But, it looks cool, I think. So that was my first introduction to him. I think a pretty solid one. I mean, whenever Ghidorah rocks up, it's like, oh yay, the massive dragon thing is here again. It actually feels intimidating as well, unlike some of the films which are going to be mentioned that star Ghidorah.
This film wasn't particularly my first introduction to Ghidorah. I mean, if we're talking about on film, yes, I'm exactly the same, because I didn't get to because here's the thing, we're in the UK, it was quite difficult to get a hold of the original Japanese versions of these films for quite a while, at least until Criterion came along and was like, yeah, we'll just publish 14 of the movies in one go. There you go, that's absolutely fine.
And here is a big box set.
Here's a big box set that I got on Black Friday during COVID, and I've never looked back since, and I just finished it last year. Took
Here is a box set starring some of the finest mediocrity you will ever see.
It was the finest cosplay costumes you've ever seen. Yeah, so I mean, even in America, it was quite difficult to get a hold of these for a long time. So yeah, in terms of the film versions, it was 2019's King of the Monsters. In terms of my actual first experience, it was actually with a video game. It was with Godzilla Save the Earth on the PS2. I think it was released back in 2004. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't very good. I mean, it's just
I never ever remember a Godzilla game.
it's because most of them are pretty crap, to be honest. I mean, this one's pretty standard. It's just like some aliens have rocked up and like, let's blow up the Earth. Let's bring a load of monsters alongside as well because we can't be asked to do it ourselves. And then Godzilla has to rock up and stop it. But then you can play as a bunch of the monsters, and mostly hails from the Showa and the Heisei era. I think there's a bit of the Millennium ones because there's like 3 versions of Godzilla. I think I just took as Godzilla 2000, which actually makes sense because all of a sudden the little one that I've got here on the desk, I believe, is actually the same one, which I've just realised. So that's a bit of a happy accident there. So yeah, you could fight as Ghidorah in that, and you could also be killed by Ghidorah because you couldn't beat him. I couldn't, so I was crap at it, but I was also 6, so I'm not exactly expecting to be very good. It's been in more recent years when I have thought, let's go through the back catalogue and see what all the fuss is about. As said before, Ghidorah first appeared in Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster in 1964. I've complained quite often about the way that any studio outside of Marvel does their like standalone superhero stuff where it's like, oh, we'll put the villains in their own movies and then put them in something else. Mothra and Rodan both had their own movies before they went on to face against Godzilla.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen them.
I haven't either.
But I was actually surprised that Rodan has its own movie. But, we'll get to that. I'll watch that some other day. I know there's Mothra as well, which I'm somewhat keen to watch.
I'm sure there's a trilogy for some reason. I'm like, how many films can you get out of a bloody moth?
Brilliant.
I'm guessing the second film has Mothra trapped inside a section of IKEA. Specifically just full of lamps. Just like, right, well, that's it. I'm screwed. I'm bugged.
Kaiju Kia.
Kaiju Kia. So Ghidorah never had his own film. Despicable, frankly. But then I suppose in the case with Ghidorah, who is literally just the embodiment of pure evil, it's kind of difficult to just have that be the film, because then you just have Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, you've got enough Godzilla films where he is sort of the antagonist, and then he's more the anti-hero in later films when he has to just go fight some other ridiculous kaiju.
When that film first debuted, there was a bit of controversy surrounding the depiction of Ghidorah. Ghidorah was considered to be an allegory of the nuclear threat posed by China, so that caused a bit of a hoo-ha for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, the 60s were weird. Ishiro Honda, he said, no, that's just a bit of a coincidence. In reality, we're just doing a modern take on a Japanese mythological beast known as the Yamata no Orochi. I butchered that probably. It's probably called something else, if I'm completely honest.
I mean, I was more thinking that they just took inspiration from, like...
dragons and shit.
Yeah, like, stuff from, like, whales and all that. Mysticalness.
From whales?
From whales.
So actually, in reality... Ghidorah is just an allegory for the nuclear threat posed by whales. Gotta get the Welsh before they get us.
Like, whatever that blooming folktale is, like George and the Dragon or something, I don't know.
George and King Ghidorah. Who would be a very short story.
George and King Ghidorah.
He's doomed immediately.
Rewriting history with that.
Oh, yeah. I actually quite like the idea all of a sudden. There probably is something like that already. But yeah, so that particular version was a giant 8-headed dragon that decided to scale it back down to 3, probably because it's quite difficult to make a...
Yeah, I can imagine making a 8-headed puppet very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like the puppetry for Ghidorah in those earlier movies is actually quite good, all things considering, although I can't remember which one it is. It might be this one or Invasion of Astro Monster. I can't remember, but I think there's a moment with, I think there's like Rodan just sort of like flying around Ghidorah, and there's just Godzilla just sort of like grabbing onto Ghidorah's tail and just like hurling it around, and there's just Ghidorah and his neck's just like wobbling around. I'm like, Animals don't really do that, to be honest.
It's like an unmanned fire hose.
It's exactly like that.
It's just all over the place.
I picture that sounds hilarious. I really like that as an idea. But yeah, so made subsequent appearances across the Showa, Heisei, and Millennium eras, and pretty much cemented himself as the ultimate archenemy to Godzilla. And as I said, no standalone movie, heaven forbid. Maybe in the modern day we'll get that, if Warner Brothers don't get their fingers out of their arse and give us a good movie. With the bold assumption that the next Godzilla movie is not. Yeah, it wasn't until 2019 when the character properly returns to the big screen. First time properly with CGI as well, and a bit of motion capture, which I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes videos of Godzilla King of the Monsters with the motion capture performers playing each Ghidorah head. It's kind of adorable.
No way.
Seriously.
Oh, I've got to check this out on YouTube.
It's kind of funny. I mean, what I like as well, I really appreciate the fact that with the 2019 version, it's the first time that Ghidorah actually feels quite unique in terms of a personality, because each head has got a different one. They've even got nicknames. The audience decided to give the nickname to the right-hand head that gets his head lobbed off about halfway through. They nicknamed him Kevin because he's stupid.
Kevin.
And he's easily distracted by everything, and I'm like, I like that as an idea. I could get behind him being called Kevin.
Like, the other two heads have like really terrifying, scary, intimidating names, and then there's just Kevin.
And there's just Kevin.
Yeah.
I think it'd be doubly funny if they actually called him Manila instead, just to take the piss even further, because he's also stupid and easily distracted. The other one I will mention, and I'm pretty adamant that you haven't seen it. I know I've mentioned it a few times. That's the Godzilla anime trilogy that's on Netflix. I assume you haven't watched it. That's alright. That's okay. So that particular version of the Godzilla universe is quite unique. For one, it's got the biggest version of Godzilla ever. He's known as Godzilla Earth.
Godzilla Earth.
He's quite big. He's not the size of a planet. I should stress. But
I was starting to think, like, is he literally bigger than the Earth?
I'd quite like to see that, even though it would be very, very brief. Wouldn't even be a short film. It would just be like a 30-second advert on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, he's here and we're gone. Never mind.
Like, you could literally just play a basketball with the blooming Earth.
I like that as well. So Ghidorah is alluded to in this anime trilogy of movies, and then fully shown in the third one, which is Godzilla the Planet Eater, which was apparently released in 2018. I didn't see it until COVID, to be honest. So this particular version is easily the biggest version of Ghidorah ever, because rather than just being a bog standard alien dragon that just falls to the earth, this one is from a completely different dimension. So when you look at Ghidorah, it's like, here are the laws of physics. It's going to tear them up because none of them work with Ghidorah, as it turns out. In fact, the only time you even get a hint of him is you occasionally see silhouettes of him, and it's like the classic three-head, the wings and stuff like that. In this version, though, all you ever properly see is the necks, because they're like, I'm sure the filmmaker said something like 20 kilometers long.
Jesus.
But in reality, they're basically infinite. So you have like an entire sequence of all three Ghidorah heads just wrapping around Godzilla's sight, like draining him of all of his energy. It's actually quite a badass looking shot. And we've seen stuff like that with Ghidorah in the past, but not for 20 kilometers each, to be honest. It does look quite threatening, all things considering.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds quite terrifying.
And that's the thing I quite appreciate with Ghidorah as a character, because, yeah, when you've got something like Mothra, which is just a moth, or you've got Rodan, who's just who's like a pteranodon, or Anguirus, who's just an armadillo, Ghidorah isn't really based on an actual animal this go around. It's like, let's have a look at the pages of mythology.
Mythical monster from another universe.
And I think that's why he's so popular as a character, because it's immediately iconic, because it's not just, what animals landed in our garden
Yeah,
this
I know.
week?
It's
Can
like,
we turn
well,
it in?
what animal haven't we used yet? Despite 2019's King of the Monsters being, well, it's a film, folks. It's a film, much like the sequel, but you know we're not talking about the sequel.
Not yet.
It does look really cool. Ghidorah does look really, really cool.
Yeah, I do really like it, especially because I think they are.
I mean, I don't know when. I could not tell you when it is in the film because I haven't watched this film in ages. I don't really need to rewatch it.
I have too much of a memory of it, even though that's because I saw it too many times.
Rodan gets eaten or something, and then Ghidorah sits on the mountain, and then he does like the power up, and it's like a really cool
power up.
shot. The power up, yeah. It's
You're
all the
making him
energy
sound like a video game character, Dan.
He scream. He scream.
Yes.
But doesn't one of his heads regenerate at some point? I'm sure it's Kevin who gets his head bitten off and then it regenerates.
It is Kevin.
Yeah. It's like, Kevin, you've got one more chance, right?
Kevin, get on the side of the mountain. Why?
But he's just come back a little bit more thick because his brain hasn't developed properly.
Yeah. I think it'd be quite funny if every single time any of them lose their heads, it's always Kevin. He's just the runt of the necks. Just like, oh great, I honestly thought we were going to be rid of him.
Necks.
But, I mean, it says a lot how that film's able to inject more personality into the CGI dragon than
yeah, exactly.
all of the humans combined.
How bad a film is when you're rooting for the giant, otherworldly dragon.
Which is the exact opposite of what happened with Godzilla -1. Yet again, we're going to reference that film because it's bloody brilliant. And it's just the gold standard of how you make these movies work. But no, I mean, as I say, in terms of my favourite versions, it is probably between the 2019 one and the Planet Eater one, which is ironic because I don't think that film is particularly very good. I wouldn't even say it's silly, it's just really dull for a lot of it. That's also the kind of trilogy where the second film on the poster literally has Mechagodzilla on there. Mechagodzilla is in the film, in that Mechagodzilla is just a giant city. And there's even the poster features Godzilla fighting Mechagodzilla. That doesn't happen.
So it's misleading.
That is about as misleading as 85% of Madam Web. I can reference that this week now because I saw it. I'm
sure
I saw that it was not good.
I mean, it's one of the friggin' Shower era ones, but is it All Monsters Attack that just basically consists of like 95% stock footage, and there's like a scene with Ghidorah. That is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only other ones that I've seen, besides the Three-Headed Monster, is Godzilla vs. Gigan, whenever the hell he rocks up in there, and Invasion of the Astro Monster.
I mean, Invasion of Astro Monsters...
It's alright. I mean, from what I remember.
I didn't mind the first version of when he pops up in the Heisei era with Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. It's not like the most imaginative name. They don't really have very imaginative names in those films. And that one's alright. I was hoping to get to the Millennium Era ones at some point, mostly Final Wars, just for the sake of it being absolutely ridiculous.
Well, out of all the Ghidorah ones I've seen, again, King of the Monsters does it the best because it's, you know, you've basically got this giant three-headed dragon buried deep in the ice, and then some stupid idiot comes along and he's like, you know what, let's just release them so the natural order of balance can go back to the way it was. Like, no, the world is just not going to exist, you imbecile.
No, Dan, they were eco-terrorists.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot that's what they were called as well. Eco-terrorists. The other ones, it's just like Godzilla's having a fight with somebody, then Ghidorah just swoops down from the sky, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's Ghidorah.
It's like, oh no. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the stories, they are a bit stupid.
Oh, just a bit. I mean, you know, a three-headed monster has a giant pterodactyl and a lizard fighting each other, then a moth has to break it up.
Yeah, why the hell is it the moth that solves everything? Because those are the most brittle creatures known to man.
She's just
you
sat
look
on a
at them,
rock, just zapping them, so they'll just be friendly.
Yeah, I mean, fairly iconic character to say the least. Not the greatest stories, but then I don't think we can do any better, to be honest. Because I think it's time to have another AI showdown, because we haven't done that for a couple of weeks because we couldn't do it for Dead Space. Although Dan did show me his Dead Space one and it was quite entertaining.
Yeah, I had fun reading that while I was waiting for the game to install again.
Yeah, I figured you did. So yeah, we're gonna return to our little AI showdown where we've gone into Chat GPT and basically told it, look, just like give
write
us a
me
silly,
something.
just write me something that proves that you could at one point become Skynet. So far, it hasn't really proved that at all. And, well, I don't know about Dan's version. It would be quite funny if we just ended up with the exact same one.
I really do seriously doubt it, mate.
Is it because yours is once again food related? It is, isn't it?
Surprisingly, not actually.
So it's no longer a clone of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
No.
Cloudy with a Chance of Kaiju.
Cloudy with a cancer. Can't even speak.
Danica Falata.
Cloudy with a chance of radioactive gecko.
Yeah. So, as per usual, because I'm feeling nice, I'd like to hear Dan's first.
Oh, you have made a serious mistake there, my friend.
We'll find out in a couple of minutes.
Now, this is going to be narrated in the voice of Michael Caine, because why the hell not?
Does that? I can't really have this entire segment as like the intro. That's
Well,
gonna
you're not
be
even
weird.
going to do it as the intro because I'm sick of listening to myself in the intro.
You liar.
Actually, no, I ain't going to do that. There's too much. I might do the odd segment.
Oh, okay.
So this is Godzilla versus Ghidorah, Son of Destruction. Now, the title does sound quite promising. It just goes downhill from here.
Well, because it's either Son the Star or Son the one after the father.
The one after the father.
Which one is this? Oh no. Which is this? Spoilers, you're gonna reveal it soon, aren't you? Oh crap. I shouldn't have finished the rum.
Recovering from the chaos caused by Godzilla in Ghidorah's previous battles, a new threat emerges as Godzilla's son, Junior, begins to...
No!
I wish I'm joking. It's not. He's actually called Junior. So, picture the scene on the motorcycle from Last Crusade, but instead of Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, it's just Godzilla and Little Godzilla.
Okay, I'm imagining it. The bike is crushed.
Yeah, the bike is severely crushed.
Amongst most of the street.
Junior begins to grow rapidly, inheriting his father's immense power. As Junior ventures out into the world, seeking to prove himself as a worthy successor to Godzilla, Ghidorah awakens from its slumber, drawn to the young titan's growing energy. As the two colossal creatures clash, Junior finds himself outmatched by Ghidorah's cunning and relentless assault. In a desperate attempt to save his son, Godzilla intervenes, but Ghidorah seizes the opportunity and devours Junior whole, intending to absorb his power.
What the fuck?
However, with Ghidorah's belly, Junior's latest abilities manifest in a spectacular display of force. With a thunderous roar, Junior bursts out from Ghidorah's body in a dramatic homage to the film Alien, emerging stronger and more determined than ever before. With newfound power coursing through his veins, Junior wages a ferocious battle against Ghidorah, avenging his own near demise and defending the world against a relentless threat of destruction. In the end, it is Junior's resilience and newfound strength that triumph over Godzilla, securing his place as the next guardian of the Earth, alongside his proud father, Godzilla.
Bloody hell.
And
Yeah,
see,
there's-
now there's just like the epilogue to it, where it's just... Junior, if you're seriously considering going in your father's footsteps, you should hear the rumours surrounding Ghidorah. Deep in the Arctic, there is a cave.
And in this cave,
And in this cave is a 70-foot dragon with the power to end the world. See, Michael Caine just needs to narrate, like, over scenes that just have, like, I don't know what you call them. There's probably like an atmospheric shot. He just needs to narrate over atmospheric shots.
so we've gone from wanting David Attenborough to like live for eternity because we can't get rid of his voice, or Morgan Freeman, to now Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could just have like a battle of voices at one point. It's like, I'm gonna narrate this scene. No, absolutely not. I'm gonna narrate this scene. No, my friends, I'm gonna narrate this scene. That sounded more like Mr. T, to be honest.
Yeah,
than Morgan
oh
Freeman.
god, Mr. Cheese joined the cast.
I pity the kaiju. I'm sorry.
I pity the kaiju.
It is Mr. T, isn't it? I think it is. I clearly didn't watch the A-Team, obviously. I watched Rocky 3 instead. Okay, mine. Right, okay. See, I had a choice of two. One sounds more like one Godzilla movie you would get during the Showa era, in that it sounds quite stupid. I mean, for
like
example...
90% of the films that are in it.
yeah, I mean, this one features a giant rubber duck and a character called Dr. Emma.
Doctor Who?
That would have been better, to be completely honest.
No, not Doctor. I mean, I'm asking who is the doctor.
I know. Emma.
Doctor
Just Emma. That's a first name. It's not a surname. But that's like the least of my concerns with that one. So
Okay.
instead we'll go with the other one, which is just stupid, which is Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. A silly showdown.
Silly showdown. Uh-huh.
There's no food involved in this one. No, there isn't. I just had to check again. Like, no.
Okay.
So, in the bustling metropolis of Gojira City, all seemed peaceful until an intergalactic rift opened. Happens every time. Unleashing the mischievous King Ghidorah onto the unsuspecting world. I think he's worse than mischievous, to be honest. That's like...
Yeah, you just make him
borderline?
out as if he's like just like pranking people, but he's not.
Do an episode of Prank Patrol, but it's with King Ghidorah. Or, better yes, Horrible Histories. Instead of you have been atwad, it's you have been Ghidorah'd. Hee hee. Anyway, just random references to two completely other things.
Yep.
This three-headed gravity beam shooting space dragon quickly made it clear he was up to no good.
Gravity be. What the hell is? Oh, okay, right. I'm just not gonna ask questions here.
I think he does have like the weird gravity lightning things in the American one. I think when he eats like the generators and he just explodes with lightning.
Oh, that.
Not very memorable.
I was gonna say, 'cause
well, it is
I was
to me,
picturing
clearly,
like
'cause-
something totally different. Like he could just shoot gravity from his mouth. I'm like, what the hell?
What? Like, out of a scene of Moonfall?
Yeah.
Oh boy. As skyscrapers trembled, Godzilla, the city's resident protector, has like the scarf and the badge and everything, rose from the ocean depths with a mix of confusion and determination.
Yeah, you know, like Scouts.
two
Scouts
very
honor
different
of
things.
Tokyo.
The citizens, initially puzzled, soon realized they were in for a showdown of epic proportions. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
The clash began with a dance-off between Godzilla and King Ghidorah. It wasn't going to be like a regular fight, was it? It was just going to be a dance-off. It's like the end of a Disney film.
So they just find like some field in the middle of nowhere and just stick on Just Dance on the Wii.
One giant one. Their colossal forms moving to an unexpected disco beat that echoed throughout the city, so it is literally Just Dance. Each head of King Ghidorah showcased its own dance style, making the battle more entertaining than destructive. So Kevin is probably breakdancing.
This is what I call the unmanned fire hose.
This one is the controlled fire hose. This one is the controlled fire extinguisher. And Kevin over here,
And this is Kevin.
is just absolutely broken. Bloody Kevin. Amidst the chaos, Mothra fluttered in, attempting to broker peace by organising a karaoke competition. Why is the moth doing it?
Again, why is the moth the peaceful one? Because, like, she is the... Jesus, I don't even know, man.
Dan, not only are you asking the wrong questions, you're also just asking questions. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know, I should just stop.
Yeah. The monsters took turns belting out tunes with Godzilla surprising everyone with his surprisingly soulful rendition of My Heart Will Go On. That's a bit of a crossover.
Parentheses, my radioactivity will go on.
My radioactivity will go on. my rage will go on. However, King Ghidorah, not one to be outdone, unleashed a deafening roar that doubled as a frequency disruptor, causing the city's traffic lights to sync with its rhythm, turning the chaos into a dazzling light show. That feels more like an accident, if I'm completely honest. It doesn't sound like he did that deliberately. It's like, right, if I tap into the traffic lights, I don't know what a traffic light is because I'm a giant alien dragon who doesn't have any need for traffic lights. But it's fine.
It's fine.
Just when it seemed like a light-hearted resolution was possible. Where in that was there going to be a resolution? Mecha Godzilla,
oh great,
a metallic doppelganger with an affinity for breakdancing, crashed onto the scene. Now it was a full-blown dance-off extravaganza with each monster showcasing their unique moves. Obviously, Mecha Godzilla should be doing the robot, surely.
Well, I'm just starting to think, right? Yeah, like he's gonna do the robot, but surely, you know, because he's a giant metal lizard, he's going to need some serious oiling and stuff to just be able to pull those moves off.
There's probably like an oil factory next to it as well. It's probably quite convenient in this convenient field.
Like it required like 138 people just to spray some DW40 on the joints.
GZ40.
It's like his own brand.
Yeah, it is. In a surprising twist, the city's residents joined the spectacle, turning the chaos into a massive street party. Confetti filled the air as Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Mechagodzilla grooved together in an unexpected display of unity. With the city saved, that clearly happened off-screen, well, off-script in this case. There are plot holes in the AI script, funnily enough. With the city saved and smiles all around, the monsters just left, promising to return for more dance-offs rather than destructive battles. Gojira City became known as the global capital of monster dance parties, and Godzilla and King Ghidorah occasionally reunited for epic duets that shook the foundations of the city. Scale, not Finn.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
Jesus. Yeah, that's something.
That's not a good idea for a film, to be completely honest.
No, it's not because of the giant plot hole. It's the fact that all these monsters who are notorious for attacking each other just say, you know, screw it. See you guys. See you next week.
Yeah, like it's dance time instead. Or I think it's quite realistic because they're probably sick of losing. So like, let's pick a different topic of discussion for this fight. Instead of using fists and fury, we're just going to use dance moves instead.
We're just going to use the giant Just Dance Wiimat in the middle of the Tokyo field. And this is Kevin.
And And this is Kevin. We don't know what he's doing, but what he's doing is actually helping for once.
Like, I imagine, like, the other, like we spoke about before, like, Kevin is the thick one, but the eyes are, like,
And
sort
I
of
was the fat one.
looking in different directions. Yeah, like,
I'm pretty sure that is actually the meme of it. It's just him like, oh, the irony that the one to save us all is Kevin.
yeah, Kevin.
Well, I think once again we have proven that, well, for one, Dan wins again. I don't know how you're doing this, Dan. I don't know how you're getting the computer to do it better.
I don't know, but the computer decided, you know what, let's just put a bit of Alien in there for good measure.
I mean, everything is better with Alien, to be completely honest.
Like, imagine just watching that and then you see Godzilla's stupid little son just burst out of Ghidorah's stomach.
I mean, technically, that would make it a better film, I think.
You know what he kind of reminds me of, and I don't know why he reminds me of this, but he just reminds me of, like, the Cocoa Pops rocks.
Fucking what? Sorry. Dance off. Godzilla's son of destruction. Fucking breakfast cereal. Please elaborate on your strange theory.
Well, his son just literally looks like a Cocoa Pop because he's just weird.
Oh, so he looks like the Cocoa Pop. He doesn't look like the monkey that's on it.
No, he just looks like a Cocoa Pop.
It looks like a Cocoa Pop.
I wish he'd get eaten like a Cocoa Pop because honestly, I'm sick of the sight of him.
I'm really glad we didn't do a discussion on Manila because I think it would have just been... In fact, all the food stuff would have actually happened outside of the AI script. It would just be Dan referencing... You know what?
Like, secretly, the story wants you to know that Godzilla is now just sick of his life because his son survived. Damn it, I was counting on the giant dragon digesting him.
So, see, and I thought you were going to be like, well, if we're talking about Mothra, right? Mothra reminds me of Rice Krispies.
It's not Cocoa Pops,
Right.
it's Manila Pops.
Manila Pops. and then there's bloody Road, and it honestly reminds me of fucking Kellogg's cornflakes. I don't know what it is.
Wait, actually, I can't say it, surprisingly.
And then bloody Jet Jaguar. Fucking porridge. That was a weird segment. All of a sudden, we're just comparing kaiju
which
with
kaiju
breakfast cereal.
Looks like cereal. Breakfast cereal kaijus.
I mean, if this is the kind of thing that you enjoy with this podcast, where we do have a topic and then suddenly it devolves into breakfast cereal and just borderline insulting each other, then obviously you've gotten your fill this week with random bits of dragons.
I mean, the marketing
AI
for it would be absolutely genius because you've got the box
it would be expensive
with the little Manila Pops on it, and then Ghidorah with a giant spoon eating them. Genius marketing.
Anyway, we'll kind of wrap things up now before we start referencing breakfast cereal any further than we did. Yeah, that's been our little discussion on the character of King Ghidorah in the Godzilla franchise, alongside weird dance-offs and bringing back Godzilla's son for more screen time for some reason.
And kaiju breakfast cereals.
And kaiju breakfast cereal. There's a lot of movie tie-ins on this week's episode of The Real Podcasters. Sponsored by Manila Pops.
Manila Pops.
It's bloody fictional, and thank bloody God.
The slogan should just be "Get your kaiju on."
Get your kaiju on. It's Zilla time.
Yeah, like really like stupidly corny one-liners.
But yes, thank you very much for listening. We do hope that you enjoyed it. So next week we are going to be tackling another movie, but one we haven't actually discussed yet. This one is quite unique for us. We're going to be talking about A Quiet Place, because we are getting a Quiet Place prequel at some point in the next month or two.
June.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's June.
I purposely put the Quiet Place one in next week because I thought it was going to be sooner than that, but they must have moved it.
But I saw that it was in
Cocking
June
Nora.
sometime. I mean, I could be wrong. it's been a while since I've watched both the Quiet Place films, so this will be an interesting one.
You can look forward to that next week, but thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you then. And until then, it's goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.